Do you want to answer that again? The proper way?
Yeah, being in top 30 is pretty surprising. It's great though.
Good place to be.
Is that how you guys measure success? Album sales? If not, how so?
Crowd reactions.
Yeah. Well, you can measure it in quite a few different ways. How many people show up at your show. That's how we pretty much rate it.
Written by James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Cliff Burton, and Kirk Hammett. Fade to Black is the fourth song on Ride the Lightning. It's the first time Metallica recorded a ballad, and it's the first time they were accused of selling out. Let's get started.
I've talked to a lot of hardcore metal fans and they say, quote, Metallica have sold out. What's your response to something like that?
I think you could do it on the TV here.
Yeah, it's,
We're not too worried about them.
we do what we want to do, you know? If they consider that selling out, then whatever.
There's a lot of people think you sold out just because you're on a major label and are very popular.
Or maybe you don't play 1,000 miles an hour the whole time, or, you know.
I mean, we'd be doing the same thing if we were still on, independent label.
It's well documented that Cliff Burton was not your traditional old school bass player. He had a lot of classical influences. He wasn't a four on the floor kind of guy. Fleming Rasmussen, an engineer who worked on Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Injustice for All, said as much. To illustrate what I'm talking about, I did my own mock-up bass line for Fade to Black. Mind you, I have no Cliff Burton, but this is what a traditional bass line would sound like, where I used Cliff notes and locked with the bass drum. Now let's hear how Cliff does it, and you'll notice it's a lot more free and independent of the kick drum. Hear how there were some kick drum hits that Cliff didn't play with, and there were some notes he played where the kick drum wasn't there. He was more of a third guitar player than a bass player, and that might be the reason he got turned down in the final mix of the album.
I read a quote from Lars that said Metallica is going to be big, but we're going to do it in our way. Can you explain that?
Well, it's good that, we have, we're up on around 30 in the charts. Hardly any radio play on the major stations. A lot of college stations are helping out, but no video, no mass media, and still there's a huge buzz going on, and I think it's because of our music. That's what's great. We're doing it our way, and a lot of the major magazines are picking it up and not putting a bunch of hype, and we're doing it our way. It's great.
Does that still mean no videos?
That's a matter of time. Pretty much just a matter of time.
Let's go from verse to chorus. Where are the words? This song has no words in its chorus. Again, Metallica wasn't shooting for the radio here. They weren't trying to be big stars. They were just trying to make their own music. And I think leaving the words out of the chorus, or not writing words for the chorus, was two things. It was, one, the riff is awesome, and two, not going to tell you what to think. You think what you want to think. And the verses kind of spoke for themselves. The legend is they were getting ready to go to Europe on tour, and all of their gear, their amps and the drums, were all stolen out of the back of their truck overnight, and all they had were their guitars. So on their friend Metal Joe's couch, James wrote the lyrics and the arrangement to Fade to Black. And if you take a look at the automation lane, it's quite detailed, it's quite intricate. It was a lot of work because there's some parts where Cliff played a note and just dissolved into the rhythm guitars. So I had to boost certain things, I brought certain things down. But overall, it was just to keep the bass line loud enough to be heard, but not where it becomes bass in your face. At the very beginning of the song, Cliff plays a very basic two-note pattern to match Lars's drum part. The song is basically a James and Kirk introduction, while Cliff and Lars hang back. The next thing I automated was this section right here. And I boosted that last note higher than the rest of it because it disappears into the rhythm guitars. This section right here, the first half of the song, Cliff is a free spirit and plays whatever the heck he wants. I'll skip that. That would take us forever. So at the coda of the song, there's two vocal sections split by a harmony section with the guitars. Cliff does a bass slide going into the harmony section and coming out of it under the vocals. On the remastered version of the song, both of these slides are inaudible, but they're super cool, so I boosted them. Let's hear how they sound isolated real quick. It does the same thing over here. This section right here, that's the harmony section where there's no vocals. And then right over here, does both of those at the end of the first vocal section and at the beginning of the second vocal section, marking that harmonized section, if you will. Pretty cool. Throughout the entire coda, from the first vocal section through the harmony section and the second vocal section, Cliff plays the G and the F sharp high with the rhythm guitars. Check this out. Right there, those two notes. He plays those two notes higher. Now, when James says goodbye, right there, G and F sharp are low. It's like the mood changed, the feel changed, and Cliff changed with it. And not to be outdone, the hardworking, studious student of metal, James Hetfield, brings his own perfectionism to the recording. Check this out as he does the rhythm guitar in mono and the two harmony guitars panned hard left and hard right, representing James's guitar live on the left channel and Kirk's on the right. Excellence. If you want to hear that in its entirety, by the way, YouTube keyword search Fade to Black vocals only. It's at the end. Another reason Cliff might not be so audible on this song is the fact that at the end, Lars is playing 16th notes on the double bass drums, playing very fast. Cliff is playing triplets over it, which I think it sounds great. It's driving the beat in Cliff's own way. But if you're an engineer, or say the drummer or the guitarist who want to hear those 16th notes, and one guy's playing a contrasting rhythm, maybe you're going to give him a little bit less volume in the mix. Let's just hear how it sounds, just the remaster. No Cliff, no enhanced. I don't know, what do you think? I think it sounds great. I challenge anyone to take a Cliff Burton or Jason Newsted isolated bass track off of YouTube and slap it onto your remaster. It won't work. You'll know it instantly. They don't line up. Thankfully, I've done that for you. It was a lot of work. All told, Fade to Black was only 99 splits across 6 minutes and 57 seconds, which equates to one split every 4.21 seconds. This was cake compared to Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning was... yeah. And now our moment of guitar architecture. Fade to Black introduces the acoustic guitar to Metallica recordings for the first time. And James Hetfield triple tracks the acoustic guitar. If you listen with headphones, you can hear one guitar in the left, center, and right channels. For the choruses, we get that default traditional Metallica panning layout with James on rhythm guitar left and right. There is a harmony solo after the first chorus that I believe is two Kirks because it's mapped out in the center channel where Kirk's lead guitar sits with an additional right channel harmony guitar. I wasn't in Denmark in 1984, so I don't know. And then going into the coda, after the first vocal section, there's two more guitars panned hard left and hard right playing a melody and harmony that accentuates the main rhythm guitar riff. I'm guessing that's double James. And for the end of the song, it's the section that I showed you before with the rhythm guitar in the center channel playing the chords while the right and left rhythm guitars play the harmony. Now you'd think with most of the song having three rhythm guitars they'd give Cliff a little bit more juice. Didn't happen. James broke new ground with Fade to Black. Recording with an acoustic guitar for the first time, he said was difficult, but this song, I definitely say is the best rhythm guitar track of the album. And while we're at it, I gave Kirk Hammett the Artist of the Album award, my personal opinion obviously, for Kill 'Em All. But for Ride the Lightning, I would say it's definitely James. And now it's time once again for the in-album Lifeline segment brought to you as always by Fresh Produce. No, not the brand, the concept. Eat your fruits and veggies. In this segment, I always ask the question, would I trade? There are 6 songs on Ride the Lightning that have isolated bass tracks. The 2 that don't are Escape and The Call of Cthulhu. With all that I heard on the Cliff Burton isolated bass track that I could not hear on the album for Fade to Black, and with Escape being a last-minute song and Call of Cthulhu having a bass solo that you can still kind of hear, I'm going to say I would not trade Fade to Black's isolated bass track to get one for either of those 2 songs. Now I will just sing. Fade to Black is done. Trapped in Our Ice is next. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. This is the Metallica Re-Remastered series. Stay tuned for more. Written by Hulk Hogan, Miss Elizabeth, Randy Macho Man Savage, and Jimmy Superfly Snuka.